This is the Dallas Cowboys Pepsi Postgame Show. Pepsi, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus.
First down and goal at the 9. High snap to Howell. Play fake. He keeps it. Comes up the middle. Makes 2 men miss. Gets to the goal line. Breaks 3 tackles. Touchdown Howell. His first rushing touchdown.
Well, that was a rather disgusting, embarrassing, frustrating L for the Cowboys as they now limp into the postseason. They finished the regular season 12-5. They'll be the 5 seed as their loss today secured that. Now, the Eagles did indeed beat the Giants, so they will have the number 1 seed in the NFC, and they are NFC East champions. So it'll be Cowboys at Tampa Bay and Tom Brady next week. But this one on the road against Washington sure was disgusting as the Cowboys lose by 20 points, 26-6. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Brian Broaddus, 877-881-1053. The number to call, the number to text, as we want to hear from you, as I'm sure you have a lot to get off your chest. An absolutely horrendous effort by the offense today as they had 10 3-and-outs. It was a bad game from your quarterback, who had his 3rd worst passer rating of his career, as he had 37 passes, 128 yards, a touchdown, and interception, 45.8 passer rating. But the offensive line was bad. Your defense held on, kept you in the game as long as they could, but ultimately not enough, and a pretty poor effort from the Cowboys this afternoon.
Yeah, really, when you look at what the Commanders do on defense, all week long we really talked about they were not going to let you run the football. And so now you're looking at a Cowboys offense that really hasn't run the ball all that well the last several weeks. And the thought was, hey, to come into this game and try to run. But you're still seeing some issues on the right side with Martin and with Smith. You're seeing some problems at center with some of the combination blocking that they had there. And, so that's kind of where they're at right now. I'm interested to see like the All-22 tomorrow, but just watching it, and you go through just how the Commanders played you. John Ridgeway had 5 tackles in this game, and he's a defensive tackle, and then
former Cowboy draft pick.
Yeah, and then behind him, Daron Payne had 2 tackles. So, I mean, they were just not going to let you run the football today. They did a really good job. The Cowboys have had problems securing down linemen and then getting linemen up onto the linebackers, second level. And your hope next week is that you can get Biotish back at center and then put McGovern back at guard and put Tyler Smith back at tackle. I think that's the thing that you kind of have to, if you're a Cowboy fan, you need to get back to that. They do miss Terrence Steele running the football. They really, really do, because he and Zach Martin had a really good rapport with each other when it came to the scoop blocks, the reach blocks, maybe the blocks that, the point of attack blocks that they had. They missed that. They missed his ability. Smith's, Steele's not the strongest pass protector, but he's really a good athlete. And what's happening is they just cannot get those. Early in the year, they had those ability to press a hole and then cut the ball. And now when you press the hole, you're getting compressed yourself, or you're not getting pushed. Usually you get guard tackle together and push that defensive tackle back, make the linebacker have to run the hump of the guy in his lap, and then you get the cut from behind that. And you just haven't been able to get that going. And you played some teams that are really good up front defensively. Eagles, Titans, this crew, this team right here, they should be in the playoffs. They made a horrible decision last week on their quarterback, but they didn't play with any effort. They played like Dallas last week against the Browns. That's how the Commanders played.
Came out
and
late.
They came out, yeah, and all of a sudden, the quarterback situation was a little bit different today for them. They did a good job. I mean, they made some plays. Their defense is what won this football game. And then Dallas's the turnovers, just once again, kind of really, as you can see, hurt them in this game.
No, it was horrible on offense. I mean, it was absolutely disgusting. And to your point, Malik Davis came in the final 2 drives. He had the longest run of the day with 7 yards. Cowboys averaged 2.4 yards on the ground. I mean, you can point to the horrible start with the special teams. Maybe it was the worst game played all year from the special teams. So right now, let's go live to Coach Mike McCarthy, brought to you by Pepsi, made for Cowboys watching.
Once again, the first thing that comes to mind is when you're walking off the field, you think through the preparation and then all the things that didn't go right, and we played some combination of guys, and I thought they did a nice job on defense. We wanted to get through personnel groups. That's something we've been challenged with as far as injuries. Offensive line, we did offensive run blocking. We didn't get it going in the run game, and and didn't have much going in the passing game.
Dak's had some bad plays, usually in the course of good games. When he's 14 for 37, what do you say about that?
Well, I just think, just like there's a lot more going on around. This is not about one guy. I mean, you can't look at our offensive performance and blame it on one guy. So there's plenty to go around.
We wanted to get the 13th win. You wanted to compete.
Yeah.
For them these titles, you want to get momentum going to the playoffs. How disappointing to have a performance like this on the playoffs?
I think that's a bit dramatic. I think the fact is we played poorly tonight, and that starts with me, and I'll take responsibility for that. But we've played 17 games. I think our productivity over the course of 17 games is good or better than anybody's in the league. So if you want to be playing your best ball in January. Absolutely, I totally agree with that. We're all disappointed in our performance tonight. Even if we would have come out on the other side of it, we have to reboot and go. I mean, we knew that coming out of here. We know we're playing Tampa, and hopefully by the time we land, we'll know when the game is. But we're not gonna. I'm not a burn the tape guy, so we're not flushing this away and not being accountable for it. So let's just make that real clear. But we'll watch it on the plane, we'll watch it on the bus ride, and we'll make sure it'll be cleaned up because, the thing about it, let's be honest, we don't know if we're in a 6-day week, a 7-day week, or an 8-day week. So we got to be ready to go when we touch down.
What gives you confidence you can reboot?
Well, you got to reboot anyway. It's playoff time. There's no more guaranteed games. You're guaranteed one game, and you got to do whatever you need to do in playoff football to win, and that's be our approach. And I have great confidence in this team. I have great confidence in the locker room. I think we got exceptional leadership. I think our young guys, have contributed early in the year and have grown up. And at the end of the day, we're gonna have a tough time picking 48 guys, and that's a great spot to be in. But we need to practice better than we did last week. All those things. So this is ebb and flow of seasons are a part of being successful. I mean, this has been a consistent team throughout. I mean, our record speaks for that. Our productivity numbers speak to that. But at the end of the day, it's about one game. It's about beating Tampa. That's all we'll be thinking about when those wheels touch down.
Mike, thought with you, it's been 10 3-and-outs for this offense to be that way. How
it's terrible, guys. I don't know how to keep saying it. Very disappointing, poor. You guys have got big vocabularies. Go for it. I mean, it was not a very good. Yeah. I mean, I'm disappointed, but I give credit to Washington. They were definitely. They played free of mind and played with great energy, and let's be honest, we gave the ball to them twice to start the game, and we never really got going. I thought our defense played really tough, through 3 quarters, and but we left them out there all day. I mean, it's we definitely didn't do our part offensively.
I know you said it's not on one guy, but with Dak and the pick six, is that just a late throw, an off-time throw? I mean, how do you look at the pick six?
Just not really have a chance to talk to him about it. It looked like it was cover 2 out there to the bunch. So, I couldn't tell you specifically about the rhythm and timing. I didn't go back on it. We were up right away after that play. So.
Michael Nelkins, Dallas Morning News. A really inefficient game in the run game against another good front. This is really 4 straight games that you guys haven't gotten it going. It's also 4 straight games without Terrence Steele. Where are you guys right now overall without him and just your group today?
Yeah, definitely. I think, our offensive line and, we had some things, a little bit of the same, conversation on defense on just trying to get different guys in there to make sure we got them ready to play. I mean, obviously the injury to Tyler's, with Connor. So we have some moving parts, but hey, it's time, and we got to get it going because we're gonna have to run the ball in Tampa. We all know that.
Mike, you said this before, based on what you've seen this season. Do you consider this game an outlier from how you performed all season? And when it happens this close to the postseason, is that any concern at all?
I mean, it's disappointing, no question. Yeah, the timing of it is definitely not what you're looking for. I clearly recognize that, but I think it's like a lot of things in life. When you get kicked in the ass or punched in the mouth, you have a chance to respond, and I have great confidence in our football team that we will respond.
Yeah.
Is it a matter of it was just tougher to get ready to play this game, but not knowing if it's worth anything? You knew the Giants probably aren't going to beat the Eagles, so there's really nothing at stake, and that led to this.
I mean, our players are human. I mean, I'm sure they're aware of all that. I mean, how do you regulate emotional and mental distribution of time and energy? So, I mean, if I had the formula for that, I wouldn't be standing up here talking to you guys right now. I'd be, in a lot nicer place. But I think the thing that you go through, you just watch the tendencies and it's individual. That's why I think so much of this is self-reflection, because we got to regroup and get our guys ready to go. But there's a lot going on this past week, and everybody was dealing with it. But it wasn't our best week of practice, without a doubt. We had moving parts, trying to do different guys are different. So we didn't come in with great rhythm that you look for. But hey, I've done this long enough where I've had poor practices and played well on Sundays, and vice versa. So there's no absolute to that. But regular season's over. I mean, this is our body of work. We put it on film. We own it. We're accountable to it, and but we got to, I mean, I'm honestly once I get down from here, it ends with me. I told them to leave all the negativity in the locker room, all the stuff that come out of this game, because when we get on those buses, we got to move on. We've done a lot. We've worked hard to put ourselves in this position. We're the 5th seed, so that's what it's all about.
You guys took a long look today at Trayvon Mullen. You lost the wrong land. We'll see the severity there, but where do you feel like you guys stand present at the quarterback position, and what needs to?
I mean, that's a great question, Mike. I don't have an answer for you right now because I don't know the severity of Deron's injury, and we got to take a look at. Obviously we just acquired Xavier. So. But the best thing is we have options, and that was part of today. I thought TC did some good things. Coyle did some good things today. So so getting him out there, obviously special teams will play a big part in how we move forward, particularly with the secondary, because those guys, the backups definitely are a big part of what we're doing there. So those are all the questions we need to answer probably in the next 48 hours.
What do you think, Mike?
Okay.
There's Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy following the 26-6 loss to the Cowboys there. We will unpack everything Coach had to say. Plus, we'll get to the phones, hear from you, 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text during the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy.
Gay, the left-footed punter, puts it high in the air, and Turpin calls for fair catch. He dropped the ball, and Washington has it right, bouncing off his body.
Oh, what an ugly day for the special teams unit. Really of both teams today, but for the Cowboys, it started with the Brian Anger. He couldn't get the hold, and that was a turnover on down, set up Washington in the red zone. Then he had the muffed punt by Turpin. He had a missed extra point by Maher. It was ugly all the way around. Mike McCarthy saying on this terrible outing by the Cowboys, I'm not a burn the tape guy. Promise it will be evaluated and learned from. Also said we played poorly. That's on me. Yeah. We need to practice better than we did last week. That's very disappointing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And he also brought up the difficulty of what was going on after the Buffalo game, the Monday night game and stuff. I think there was a lot of players around the league that were, having moments of, really where they are. And is Hamlin going to be okay? Could this happen to me? There's a lot of things. I mean, the league was offering, the teams counseling if they needed it, things like that. So I think the thing that was really bothered me, but once he said it, was the practice stuff. But then I started thinking again about the Hamlin stuff, and everybody it was like, and then you're getting a situation where you're thinking, well, you got to play to win. You got to play out there. You got to try and find a way to win. And, they just this defense that the Commanders have, it didn't give you anything in the running game. I don't think any receivers were open. It seemed like I know they were talking about it on the broadcast that every ball was a contested ball.
Seemed like it.
I mean, it's clear that, you don't have somebody opposite CeeDee Lamb right now that could be that difference maker. I know we talk about, potentially with the T.Y. Hilton, he had a ball that he dropped that would have been a huge play. He had actually 2 drops in this game, one over the middle early in the game and then one down the field that would have converted a third down, but he's made some really good plays. Throwing the ball to Michael Gallup.
A lot of force balls to Noah Brown today.
Noah Brown had a lot of force balls, and I'm going to tell you this about Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup just does not look comfortable catching the ball. Michael Gallup fights the ball. And when you saw on that one ball that was inside there in the second half, his knees just buckled. He buckled, and it's almost like he's trying to do I catch this with my hands? Do I catch this with my body? Right now they just don't have that. And, your quarterback didn't play well enough today either. That there was some, the pick six, it's just an awful throw.
Horrible.
You just, you read the coverage, if it's a cover 2, and Mike McCarthy was, he didn't say it, but we'll see it on tape. If it's a cover 2 look, that corner's going to squat. And when I mean the corner's going to squat, he's not going to move. And so if you just run basically a curl or an out, he's just waiting for the ball.
That's and he throws it inside.
Yeah, his responsibility on cover 2 is that area. Safety's got the hash, and then you've got the corner that squats. And so, the throw it out there just kind of very recklessly, that's on Dak. You can't make that throw. So, he wasn't good today. The line didn't do a good enough job. They got behind the chains a bunch. Third down, they were really, really bad.
3 of 14 on third down. And this was a team coming in, I think, they were going for a franchise record to surpass. I think they had 8 straight games coming into today of 50% or better on third down.
Yeah.
And 3 of 14 today.
Yeah. Jack Del Rio's crew wasn't going to let you do that today. You just couldn't get open. Your quarterback was not good. Couldn't run the ball. Your play caller, I think that he was really, now, again, are you trying to show anything? Are you not trying to show anything? Do you think you could just line up and beat these guys? But if you thought you're just going to roll out there and beat these guys just by rolling your helmet out there because they had a rookie quarterback, that kid played well for them. I was impressed by what he was able to do, some of the throws and his ability to scramble around and make some plays.
Let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
You're turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan. Tolo, baby. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, a lot of talking points to get to. I promised you we'd get to the phones. Brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, home to over 8,500 of your favorite electronic games, more than 1,000 table game seats, and 1,400 luxury hotel rooms. It's always a good time at a WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Washington knocks off the Cowboys today 26-6 in the regular season finale. Commanders finish the season 8-1. They missed the playoffs. Cowboys fall to 12-5. It's Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus here on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys have a date set with the Bucs in Tampa Bay on Wild Card Weekend. We are waiting for the official time. The rumors are it might be Monday Night Football, but we'll let you know when that becomes official.
We were heard about that 2 weeks ago. That if in fact that it was Brady and the Cowboys, that they were looking at a Monday night game. So yeah, this is not surprising. I know David Moore from the Dallas Morning News wrote about it this morning, and if David gets that, he probably got it from somebody at the Cowboys higher up the food chain there that probably give him a little tip.
Well, I'm sure Troy Aikman would love that.
Yeah,
get a Cowboys game on Monday night.
And I think
I'm
that
sure ESPN would as well.
Absolutely, they would.
All right, let's go out to Kevin in Hubbard. Kevin, you're on the official postgame show of the Cowboys. What's going on?
I don't want to talk about the game. Just a couple questions. Well, like Brian said earlier, I mean, did they come out there with just not a real strong game plan because they don't want to show much to Tampa, and possibly because they didn't want to sit their starters because we know that some of their starters that count really don't do well with extended rest? And the final question is, what do you think about Tampa now? Before, I was thinking it was going to be a pretty good game. We had a pretty decent chance of winning, and now I'm just not so sure. So that's all I got, man.
Yeah, I don't know about the game plan. I mean, I'm just thinking. I honestly believe even if you go with a vanilla game plan, it's about blocking. It's about blocking. It's about getting open. It's about completing passes. It's about staying ahead of the chain. They did none of that today. So even vanilla game plan, or I honestly, Dallas, they were going into this game, having to win the game. That was the until Philadelphia showed that they were going to win, you had to keep playing. And so to me, I don't know the game. I think that just Washington just really kicked your ass tonight. I think that was the biggest thing from that I took away from that. Tampa hasn't scored a whole hell of a lot of points. They've got a Hall of Fame quarterback. They got the best quarterback to ever play in this game. Maybe the best player ever to play in the NFL history. As their quarterback. I think the things you have to be concerned about is your lack of pass rush. Tampa looked like today. I was watching a little bit. I think an offensive lineman went down again. They've kind of struggled. They were with a backup center today. We'll see how that all plays.
We'll see if Ryan Jensen comes back.
They had a backup center in today. I know that. And it went into the game because Brady was on the sidelines taking snaps with another center. So they've had some problems. We'll see.
And they struggled against Atlanta. I mean, they were down with their starters in. Now, I know there's in the second half.
Well, it was 10-all. I remember it was 10-all, and then I remember Brady got pulled, and then the Bucs scored,
and eventually Trask got in the game.
So they went through all their quarterbacks today.
But that is a team in Tampa Bay where I think regardless, win or lose, you certainly you'd be nervous about that game because of Tom Brady on the other side, and he's 7-0 against the Dallas Cowboys. But you would think that the Cowboys are a better football team, but if you play like you did today, you're one and done.
Yeah.
You're not beating anybody in the playoffs playing like you did today.
No, if you don't separate at wide receiver, if you're not accurate throwing the football, if you don't read correctly, if you don't run block, and you don't play better on special teams, the defense, I think the defense got put in some terrible situations today and played probably as well as they could. The left cornerback situation is a nightmare now.
It's a massive concern.
We need to see what is going on with Bland because you cannot trust Mullen at all. Yeah, to me, Mullen is now an inactive every week.
Well, Cowboys, if you missed that, Cowboys rookie Deron Bland at corner left the game with a chest injury. He did not return. He's going to be reevaluated when the Cowboys get back to Frisco tomorrow, according to the team. So we'll have to see. And Deron Bland, who's having a fantastic rookie season, that is definitely a position in which the Cowboys cannot afford to lose another player. They did sign Xavier Rhodes, former first-round pick and 3-time Pro Bowler, but he's been bouncing around the NFL, was on most recently the Bills practice squad. So we'll see if the Cowboys like what they see from him in practice, and they might give him some run. But they gave Mullen a shot, and ultimately, he got beat a couple of times tonight.
Mullen, Alexander, they're going through these guys. You know, they're going through these cornerbacks now, and they're trying to figure out who can play and who can't play. I think they realize that Mullen can't play. They need Bland. They need Bland badly in this game, unless they go with we'll see with who they put the guy they put on the practice squad just here recently.
Rhodes.
Yeah, Rhodes. We'll see. I mean, his whole thing, talking to people around the league, there's a lack of speed there. He's dealt with some injuries in the past. He's got the length. He's got the toughness. Those were guys were telling me that's the stuff that Dan Quinn likes. But if there's a lack of speed and stuff out there, but he's a veteran player and he's been through these. So maybe that's the next direction that they turn.
All right, let's go to line 2. We got Ken in Round Rock. Ken, what's going on?
Hey guys, what's happening tonight?
What's happening?
Well, look, I mean, this is a big old bag of crap that these Cowboys served up. But it's sad because Brian, to your point, they had to come out and win the game. So you would assume that they were going to come out and give their best, and they got their butts kicked. But the big thing is, are we going to have Leighton Vander Esch back? I think so. Are we going to be able to get some help on the defensive line? I hope so. The thing that haunts me, after that Tampa Bay loss at the beginning of the year, I can't remember the name of the linebacker, but remember, they basically did to us what Washington did tonight. Our receivers could get zero separation.
Yeah.
They knew where we were, and he said we knew what they were going to do. That was what his comment was after the game. So I'm worried about that. But look, Dak could have thrown probably 4 picks tonight.
Sure could have.
The bad decision-making some of those balls, trying to force balls in when you had, trying to fit in a high-low concept, all that, he was trying to force the ball in.
Yeah.
And it was throwing behind guys. I mean, he was just off. I don't know. We'll let Kurt Warner break it down. He'll do his little quarterback room, and we'll see how bad Dak was off or something. Maybe that knee injury last week, maybe there was something to that. Who knows? But I have zero confidence going into Tampa right now.
Okay. Appreciate the call.
Thank you for the call, man. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. After today's game, the way this team played, I can understand why I think the majority of Cowboy fans would probably be very pessimistic going into that game against Tampa Bay, especially with that quarterback on the other side. Dak played horrible today. He did.
He sure did.
Dak was very inaccurate. He threw. I mean, it was very. It was horrible to see when he threw it should have been a pick six to Kendall Fuller, and then the following play he does it again. And this time he got what he deserved, and it was intercepted and returned to it for a touchdown. Then you had the throw to Dalton Schultz, which really comes to mind, where it's severely overthrown. Schultz jumps in the air, luckily tips it.
Yeah.
And otherwise you had Fuller who was ready to catch it kind of like a punt. And field that thing, which would have been another interception. Dak was bad. This was probably outside of the game against Tampa Bay. This was the worst game that Dak has played all year long. As I mentioned in the open, it was the 3rd worst game statistically by passer rating that he's played in the entirety of his career. He was horrible. He's got to be better or you have no chance. And there's no reason to be forcing balls to Noah Brown. Okay? There's also no reason why I got to put a lot of blame on Kellen Moore as well. And maybe Kellen Moore was being vanilla. Maybe he didn't want to show too much. I don't really understand why, because you're in a win and possible, hey, you got a number 1 seed if things go your way or an NFC's title, but you got to find a way to get CeeDee Lamb involved. It took until the under 3 minutes to go in the first half for 88 to catch a football. It took until the second quarter, almost halfway through, for him to get a target. There is no reason, you mentioned, Brian, for the number 2 receiver. You don't really have one right now.
Right now you don't.
You have to be force-feeding CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
And the best teams in football, you don't see Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, and maybe you can be rolling your eyes and saying, well, CeeDee Lamb's not in that category. Statistically, CeeDee Lamb's a top 10 receiver easy, and he's borderline been a top 5 statistic wide receiver in the NFL. The Cowboys have to get him involved, and that is on Kellen Moore. Not, Dak Prescott, sure, he's got to throw it to him. Don't force it to Noah Brown, force it to 88. But Kellen Moore's got to be more creative in that area.
No question. I think you nailed it right on the head.
All right, let's go out to AJ in San Diego. AJ, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
That was a total stinker. I tend to reflect back to your tweet during the game, Brian, saying that McCarthy's keeping some of these guys out there, either as punishment or to make them feel how bad this loss is.
Yep.
And I could definitely tell with Parsons, he was getting frustrated, and facing Brady next week, knowing how quick he gets the ball out, and knowing that the run defense seemingly has made some progress, and you're going to get Hankins and LVE back. Do you think that we should probably look at playing Parsons at linebacker? It seems like the last couple of games, he's been exclusively lining up on one side and just getting frustrated and worn down physically. Given Tampa's quick passing game, do you think that may be a better option, keep him at a linebacker or maybe clogging some of those quick passes? Love to hear your thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know how many sacks you're going to get on Brady unless you get him to hold the football. That's going to be the most important thing. I mean, you're going to have to. I'm the game I really want to watch. If you've got all 22, go back and watch Brady play against the Cincinnati Bengals. I think it was probably 3 weeks ago. That's a game that I'm really, really looking forward to. If you got that NFL on NFL.com and that Game Pass stuff, go back and watch that one because that's the one to me I think that's going to tell me a lot because they got him to turn it over. They got him to hold the ball. Cincinnati's got some good secondary. They got a good front. So you got to figure out, go back and look at those game plans. New Orleans throughout history has done a good job. Dennis Allen, go back and look at some of those plans and say, okay, how did you play in coverage against, Mike Evans and Godwin and those guys like that? How did you, because the whole thing with the Cowboys, they just can't make them hold the ball long enough. You saw what happened, though. They were able to get some negative plays, and they were able to get pass rush. They were able to get sacks after negative plays. I think that's going to be another key. But you're going to have to figure out, you're going to have to come with a game plan. I don't know if it's as simple as saying, play Parsons at linebacker, because you're right. In that game, it wasn't Tom Brady being Hall of Fame quarterback. It was Leonard Fournette running the ball for like $128.
They attacked the edge, and they really ran right at Trayvon Diggs.
And your quarterback was just as awful as he was tonight.
Certainly.
So that's something that you need to. But as far as game plans, I'm going back. I'm watching Cincinnati, and I'm watching some of the New Orleans games too, because I feel like those teams have a pretty good understanding how to play him.
Well, and the one thing we've talked about in terms of neutralizing this pass rush, and to your point, it's how quickly these quarterbacks are getting the ball out. There's nobody better at it than Tom Brady.
No, that's the thing about it is, and then are you capable enough of matching up on the outside, whether it's Bland, Wright, who's ever playing on the other side, just playing press and then making them hold that ball or being able to knock the ball away.
Yeah,
a lot of it I think has to do with some of these officiating crews you get. Are they going to let you play? Are they going to call PI in the playoffs and defensive holding a bunch? Those are the things you need to worry about, too.
Yeah, 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. We'll get to more of your calls and texts coming up as the postgame show rolls on. We will also hear from the voice of the Dallas Cowboys, Brad Sham, who will join us from Landover, Maryland, from FedEx Field in Washington, as he's been doing his postgame and been in the locker room. We also have Jerry Jones, CeeDee Lamb as well. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Is your workplace on top of its game? For over 100 years, Pollock Aurora has been taking care of business, improving
sacked. Armstrong, who just wanted every part of every play on that series, gets the sack back at around the 15. I believe that's his 9th of the year.
26-6, Washington knocking off the Cowboys today. Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus with you on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys. We now are joined by the voice of your Cowboys, Brad Sham. And Brad, you know, the one lesson I have learned from you this year is this week and next week have never met. And let's sure hope that is the case in Tampa Bay next week. But I will say from this one here today, which was rather gross, what is the one thing that you think they need to get corrected the most as they head into that playoff matchup next week?
If this was who I thought they were, it would take me too long to answer that question. No, I said toward the end of the game, this week and next week have never met, and you want to keep it that way. You don't want anybody that you care about to ever meet this week.
Hell no.
You want to keep your children hidden, and the defense did not play badly today. We were Babe and I were on the bus, and we were just looking at some of the statistics. The kicking game was the worst it's been all year, and the offense was simply inexplicable. And so normally there would be nothing good to come out of watching this again, but it was so bad that it's like there was a train wreck and I didn't see the train coming. So I want to watch the tape and see if I can see where the train was coming from. But then you turn the page. Zach, they were horrible in the first game. They were horrible today. They were pretty good for the 15 games in between. And I think there's plenty of evidence to say this is not who they were. It's who they were today. But I don't think this is who they are. So I'll be shocked if they play anything resembling this next week.
Brad, it was a game that you felt like that they needed to go win. I know I did. And I'm kind of feeling like with Howell at quarterback, I felt like they could win, but I didn't understand why your quarterback played so poorly today.
No, me either.
And that's the thing that's got me down because he looked like what I thought Howell would look like. Yeah, I mean, I liked Howell.
The throws, he's got something to him, but his throws were. Prescott was high. He was low.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I kind of I'm thinking.
I have no explanation.
If you put the name Howell on the back of number 4 today, I would have said that's probably what Howell's going to look like in this game today. But I didn't expect this quarterback to play this poorly.
And he did, and he didn't have much help. There were 3 or 4 drops. He had to throw into tight windows because the receivers would not or could not open any windows. And then some of the throws were just awful. Yeah. And I have no explanation for that. It's not who he is. We've seen him. That's not who he is. But that's who he was today, and I don't believe that's who he'll be next week.
Brad, do they?
And I just base that on what we've seen.
Yeah,
and it's not based on blind hope.
No,
evidence tells me that's not who he is. We'll see better.
No, that is your hope. Are they struggling with a second receiver right now?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. Obviously, I think Hilton's a plus, and but 2 got away from him today, and Gallup is just not himself. Yeah, no, I don't. I think right now for next week and for next year they don't have a second receiver. Yeah. Gallup looks like a really good third receiver. Who knows what Tolbert will ever become? And yes, I think they still need a second receiver. That won't help them much next week.
No, I know, and that's what I'm just. To me, it looks like that Gallup is just fighting the ball so bad right now. It's like when he gets in position, he almost buckles. It's like every miss to him is like I'm not really sure my feet are right and my hands are good. It's just not a confident player playing out there right now, it looks like.
Doesn't look. No, I think that's a good description, Brian. I think he does not look confident. And frankly, my biggest issue with Noah Brown is that he's always fighting the ball. It's not smooth.
Yeah.
It doesn't come into him. He seems to always be fighting it. And now I think you're right that we see that some with Gallup, and I think that some of the routes are sadly imprecise. And so they just have to go back to work and see what they can come up with this week, but I don't think we got the pre-injury gallop for sure.
Brad, any thoughts coming out of here about when this game is going to be? Monday night game? Is anybody whispering anything to you?
Nobody's whispered, but if I had to bet, I would bet on Monday night because the rumor is that ESPN television had the NFC 4-5 game, and the analyst on that broadcast communicated to me that if Dallas was in that game and they didn't get it, he was going to personally do damage to 345 Park Avenue. So I'm expecting it to be.
Oh, did we lose Brad? We might have dropped Brad. So we appreciate
that parking lot's a mess there at FedEx, by the way.
That is rather hilarious. And I'm sure if Troy wasn't able to get that game, he would be absolutely livid by that. We'll see if we're able to get Brad back. But if not, Brad, brought to you by Blockchain. You don't need a complicated play to bring it into the end zone. That's why you should trust the team at blockchain.com to make buying, selling, and trading crypto easy. Play smarter, not harder, with blockchain.com. Also did see Zach Martin say, we do this again, we'll be sitting at home next week. I do know, the offensive line takes a lot of praise, and that was a bit of a concern.
Oh, they got their ass handed to him today.
Was the way the offensive line played. And I know, Brian, we're hopeful that Tyler Biotish will be good to go at center, and maybe that'll certainly go towards helping where you get guys back where they should be.
Yeah. I don't know if running the ball anymore now is the most important thing. And I say that in a way of the last several weeks we've thought, well, they need to run the ball. They need to find a way to run the ball. They need to figure out a way to run the ball. And I don't know if they can run the ball now the way they're configured. I don't know if they could block it correctly up front to run the ball well enough. Now, we'll see with the Tampa game. I remember in that game they started running the ball and then they went away from it. Like I think Ezekiel had 51 yards.
Yeah, they were running it well.
Yeah. So, but I wonder, like we keep worrying about, or we keep saying, oh, they need to run. They need to get the running game going again. And you got two Hall of Famers on the right side, and you ain't running the ball very well.
Well, Tyron Smith has definitely improved the pass protection in that area. Now, you certainly have regressed in the run blocking with Terrence Steele and Zach Martin, as you mentioned, and we've talked about this. I mean, Terrence Steele was arguably the best run blocking right tackle in football before he went down. But I'll say this, Brian, I don't know, and you're right. I mean, they're not having as much success as an offensive line in terms of opening up holes in the run game.
Yeah.
I also think it's just predictability.
First down runs?
Yes. That's an issue.
I told Eric in the pregame that, you know, and you've heard me say this before, is it when you run when you're supposed to pass and pass when you're supposed to run. You know, that's kind of what I think, you know, that we're dealing with right now. I just don't, I'm not saying that every time Dak goes back, it's going to be, if it is like today, they're going to lose this game if he's throwing the ball like this against Tampa, of course. But I don't know. We keep talking about the running game. Maybe the running game is what it is right now.
And it might be.
That you're not going to, hell, you had a holding call on Schultz like that, for like a decent run.
Yeah.
Like a 5-yard run. You didn't have any of those today. 5-yard run gets called back for holding.
No, like I said, your longest run of the day was 7 yards. Yeah. And it was Malik Davis in the final drive of the game.
I don't know. I just don't know if you can. I don't know if there's that, if you're going to all of a sudden just saddle up and say everything's cool and here we go.
No,
because I
agree with that.
The last 3 weeks, Philadelphia, Tennessee, and now Washington, you haven't run the ball the length of what.
But you had Tyler Algier, who did run for over 100 yards today against Tampa Bay. Cordell Patterson was all right against them today as well. I don't think this is a Tampa Bay front that is as good as it was week one.
Okay.
And they do have Vita Vea. It's not to say that they're not good, but they're not as dominant a force as we're accustomed to when we talk about this Tampa Bay Buccaneers front. I don't think they're as good as, say, a Philadelphia or maybe even a Washington that you went up today. I just don't know. I don't want to have too much of a knee-jerk reaction and say, like, hey, you got to abandon the run game, right? Well, there's something about staying balanced, but I do think a big flaw in this is Kellen Moore's been really predictable and has a massive lack of creativity with this running game right now.
Well, it was pretty creative of just like zone blocking with Tyler Steele in there, or
Terrence Steele
in there.
Yeah. And maybe it is as simple as execution.
They just don't have the ability to make any cuts. You know, I mean, when the defenders are playing on your side of the line of scrimmage. Like they're like Dallas is absorbing blocks, and now that you got linebackers that are just running in the gap and making a tackle. Like early in the season, it was like they were getting down linemen secure and getting linemen up on second level. I can't tell you the last time they got a guy up on the second level in the last 4 weeks.
No, that's right, spot on.
So I don't know. I just don't think we're magically going to like, oh, hey, the running game is going to be okay. I understand you got to try and run. I get it. But there's a side of me, it's like you need to maybe figure out a way to separate from these corners and safeties and find a way to protect and throw the football.
It's just weird to me.
Until you can find a way, like I said, until down a distance, like, oh, wait, expecting a pass here. Oh, we're going to run it.
Yeah.
And see if you could just pop one of those runs.
Yeah.
But they tried to do it tonight. Was it like a third down run? We tried 3rd and 5.
3rd and 5, and it was a draw.
And it went for nothing. So, yeah.
And to your point, Zeke averaged 5.2 yards per carry in that first game against Tampa. Had 10 carries for 52 yards.
Yeah, there you go.
Tony Pollard, though, had a really rough game. And Dak only ran it 2 times, but maybe you get more of Dak running around in that football game. But that's something we can talk about more. I mean, the one thing that does frustrate me with this offense.
Can I bring up something real quick?
Yeah, please do.
What's your record on grass this year?
Ooh, that's interesting.
You've only won
you lose against Washington. You lose at Lambeau.
You lose in Philadelphia.
You lose in Philly.
Yeah, like 1-4. Like okay. Let's think of all the grass games you lost in Philly. You lost to Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Philly, Jacksonville, Green Bay. Now Washington. The only game you won was Tennessee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you 1-4 on grass.
Yep, 1-4 on grass.
Huh?
And that's a grass field there at Raymond James.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. Just something to think about.
That's interesting. That's a good point there.
Yeah.
But with the offense, it's just weird to me how certain things you get excited about, you applaud it for how they're like the tight ends, right? The use of the 3 tight ends, and I get it. Ferguson's been banged up a little bit, but then all of a sudden that becomes non-existent. It's like Dalton Schultz, only tight end to catch a ball today. You don't see any utilization of the tight ends. Jake Ferguson did have 1 catch for 4 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But the CeeDee Lamb, getting him in motion 1 week, that's something that Kellen's doing extremely well. Next week, not involved. Today, I mean, it took forever to get CeeDee Lamb involved. You do have a lack of wide receiver too. But if that's an issue, then find somewhere else to find production in the offense. Maybe it's the tight ends. I don't know. There's just such a lack of consistency week to week with the offense. 1 week something's working fantastic. The next week it's nowhere to be found.
You kind of feel like that they're making progress, and then all of a sudden it's these
one step forward, 2 steps back,
and then these games come back and slap you right in the face. They're not blocking anybody. They're not making any plays. Quarterback's bad. Yeah, it was just a total everything about today. And it should have been one of those days where you should have been able to go out there and score enough points to beat a rookie quarterback making his first start. You let the Washington Commanders, you let them make his job. You made his first start very comfortable for him. The way they were able to kind of just the defense with all those.
Well, how about the field position? Perhaps to start the game.
Oh, no question.
And 10 3 and outs, absolutely.
Yeah. All those 3 and outs. 11 of them. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
10.
10 3 and outs. That's incredible.
Well, 11 if you want to include the pick 6.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, right before, let's try and sneak in John in Fort Worth here in line 5. John, what's going on? You're on the official postgame show of the Cowboys.
Hey, guys, I'm trying to make this very quick, and I love you both. Y'all do a great job on this every week.
Love you more.
My thing is, and Brian, it's one of the first times I remember ever hearing you on the radio. When we drafted Dak, it was talked about why he went so low in the draft was because he didn't practice well, but he performed in games.
He did.
They played down to competition all the time. Is this a mental thing, maybe with Dak being a leader of the team and not being able to get his guys up because he mentally can't get himself prepared for a game that seems to be easy? Or is this more coaching? I appreciate it, guys. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, John.
Man, I don't know. man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's played down. I really do believe this Commanders team, they were a bad call or two in the Giants game. And I know they were 0-3, and they played like the Cowboys did last week.
If they had not played Carson Wentz last week, they're probably in the playoffs.
I think so too. That the way they play defense, and
that's not an excuse for why the Cowboys lost. The Cowboys played terrible today.
I don't know. I don't think the Commanders are a bad team.
No, I don't either.
I just don't. And I
think they're better than the Giants, to be honest with you. I think they should have beaten them twice this year.
I think you're right about that. So I don't know about Dak playing down. I know one thing, there was a talk where bad teams the last couple of years, they were just beating up on bad teams and losing to good teams. But they were beating good teams this year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, their record against good teams was not terrible. So I don't have a great answer for his question about getting up for games and stuff like that, or leadership, or him getting up for games. I think he was just awful today.
No, I think today was just a bad game for Dak.
When Dak looks bad, he can look really bad.
No, it's so true. When Dak's on, he plays like a top 5 to 10 quarterback in football.
Yeah.
But a bad Dak day, he's looking like holy cow. And today was a Poochie's Dak day.
Yeah.
It was not good.
He was awful.
It was a bag of farts, man.
Yeah, sure
it was horrible out there for 4th today, and he'd be the first one to tell you that. All right, more of your calls. Plus, we'll hear from the quarterback, Dak Prescott. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Your past, present, and future football watchers. You know why we're here.
Dallas Cowboys app.
2nd and 5. Howell back, throws it right. McLaurin. 10-5. Walk on in. 2 plays after the bobbled punt snap. A touchdown on his first NFL pass from Howell to McLaurin, and Washington has the first lead.
Sam Howell, the rookie, first career start out of North Carolina, 11-19, buck 69, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 83 rating. And Dak, 14-37, 129 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 45.8 passer rating, 3rd worst of his career. Brian, you made an interesting point in our previous segment. Cowboys are heading to Tampa Bay next week at Raymond James Stadium. It is a grass field. Cowboys are 1-4 this year.
People are tweeting at me that Garrett said the same thing, and you and I have been kind of getting ready for this pregame. We don't have any sound on or anything in this. I know the game's on, but I didn't know that Garrett had said this as well. Jason Garrett, he's on the NBC pregame show. But Rob Phillips brought it up to me, and he said that Garrett mentioned that maybe when they play on grass and it works this way, that maybe their pass rush is not as good.
Doesn't have the speed of that fast turf.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's and so Garrett made that point. So I want to give Rob Phillips, thank you for pointing it out, but give Jason Garrett credit too, that maybe that you're struggling with that. You're struggling with that the lack of that burst. Because when you time players for like 40-yard dashes, you take time off like 0.8 off the 40 because of the grass surface. Because that, so
it's like when they run at the combine.
Right, they run the combine, they run on that turf
right
there at Lucas Oil. But if you were to go to say, like if you ran Darren Woodson like we did at Arizona State, he runs like a 4.2, and then you take 0.8 off it because you're on the grass surface. So
interesting.
It's a good point. I was thinking about the record. And I know, I was kind of like, wow.
No, I thought that was an outstanding point you made, because that's something I considered.
People have done a really good job of reaching out to me, and then I appreciate everybody doing that.
No, thank you to Rob Phillips, and I hope you're doing well, Rob. We miss you, brother. All right, let's hear from the quarterback, your Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, after this loss.
Dak, your Dallas Morning News. How do you characterize the team's performance today and your performance in the week?
For me, not to use the language, but simple as that. And defense, I thought gave us a chance. Did enough. Obviously, some put them in bad positions. Us and special teams did. They're able to hold them to a field goal, get a touchdown. I gave a touchdown on an interception. So I think defense did enough, obviously. But for offense, just completely not who we are. I don't think I've seen us like that in damn sure the last 2 years. Something that as much as you want to burn the tape and move on, know what we got forward, there's a lot that we've got to learn from and get better and use this tape.
How do you separate that from knowing you have to forget about it quickly and get ready for camp?
Yeah, we've got the right guys in this locker room that understand, that are mature men that understand that nobody played their best ball. Simple as that. But to be accountable, starting with myself, be accountable for what you put out there, what you did, and then from that, understanding that's not who we are, and then moving on and knowing what we've got ahead of us, and it's one play at a time, the intensity, the focus, all that, one play at a time, one game at a time.
How do you explain that performance, especially your performance? You've had some picks, but you've had a lot of high completion, the 14 to 37, whatever it was. How do you explain it?
It's hard to. I said crappy. 14 completions, not good enough, period.
Dallas Morning News. Could you feel that when you're out there, like just everything is completely out of sorts?
Yeah, for sure. We're just trying to get something going, and just wasn't able to, honestly. And some of the times, I probably should have just went underneath on some of the throws and wanting to make a play, wanting to get the energy going, wanting to get us going. Took some shots, and those shots weren't there. And once again, we're back behind the chains, and we never put ourselves in third downs that were manageable, and that's what we've done this year.
Were you aware of the Eagles score during the game that they got?
Not at all. Zero awareness of what was going on over there. As I told you before, we had to handle business for that to even be a possibility. Just couldn't get off on the right foot.
Yeah, Todd Archer with ESPN. Is it easy to look at a 17-game season and say 12-5, or is this one linger for a little longer?
No, this one won't linger. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to go back and look at our body of work and what we've done, especially when this isn't anywhere in those past 16 games. So when you have a performance like this, whatever it was, whatever the reason may be, we've got to, as I said, individually look at it, take accountability, learn from it, and then understand that, hey, with that plane touchdown, we're on to Tampa. And we know who they are, played them twice in these last 2 years, and it's going to be a good one.
What gives you confidence that you can turn the page? I know you say 16, 17 games, but the team haven't had success in the playoffs. You haven't had success against Tampa. What gives you confidence that you can burn this and it's going to be a different team next week?
As I said, the men in the room. And sure, I mean, you look at the first game of this season, wasn't good at all. I didn't play to my performance, obviously, and that was just getting going, trying to find our identity. We lost that game, but you go back a year ago when we played those guys. We've had, just because we didn't win that game, we had some success and familiar now after 2 years of playing them. So that obviously gives you confidence, but more importantly, as I said, the men in the locker room, understanding the resilience that they've shown all year long, that we've shown, just being able to respond. And for myself, that's all I know. That's all I know. Been having to get back up my whole life.
Michael Galpin, Dallas Morning News. In the 4 games now without Terrence Steele, the run game has not met your guys' standard. Past 2 games especially so. What collectively needs to happen here in a week's time to get that part of this offense on track?
Yeah, I mean, everybody, I would think those guys would tell you first, they got to be accountable for what they're doing, their communication, and just trying to be more physical, I guess. Obviously, we're not going to get Terrence back in this time, so we've got to make sure that we lock in and do our best with what we've got, and we've got some great players. I mean, you've got Tyron Smith over there on the right side, and another Hall of Famer over there on the left, if that's what it is. And so no doubt in my mind that that's not going to get corrected.
Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And Dak very aware, calling his play crappy, just to go ahead and make that more, family friendly. But one thing that is true, and to his point there, of the guys in that locker room, their ability to respond and the resiliency following losses this year. Cowboys lose to the Bucs week 1. They come back, beat the Bengals 20-17. Cowboys lose to they lose to the Eagles. They come back, they beat the Lions 24-6. They lose to the Packers, and they came back and they smacked the Vikings 40-3. So they are undefeated this year following a loss, and let's hope that they can continue that streak next week with that wild card game in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and but it's going to be about not turning over the ball, and they haven't figured that out yet. That is a problem. And the quarterback, he stands at the podium and he tells you about it and he has to be better and all that. I'm sorry, man. We hear it every week, about the turnovers and stuff.
That's now a trend.
It's
now to be expected.
If this team is going to have any success at all in the playoffs, he can't turn the ball over. And also I'll throw in Turpin on the punt stuff too. That's a couple of times. And I'll throw in something else. Sam Williams, you can't keep getting unsportsmanlike conduct penalties too.
Yeah.
Giving people 15
self-inflicted wounds, man.
Everybody, they talk about look in the mirror and all this, that, and the other, but in reality, with Dak, when it's bad, it's bad. I mean, and it's bad for the turnovers. Those are just the throws he makes. And we had a caller earlier. He's right. There should have been like 4 of these things today.
Yeah. He put the ball in the harm's way a lot.
It was that bad. And I don't know. I don't know if it's one of those things you could say, well, after every loss, they've had a really – I hope so. I mean, I kind of like watching them play football. I don't want the season to be over. But, man, I don't know how if you're a Cowboy fan, and I was one of these guys that were like, different season, knew this, knew that, whatever. But, there's these bad trends they're going through right now.
Well, you'd like, as a fan, to give yourself some hope and not be pessimistic all the time.
Yeah.
But when you're kind of on the hamster wheel,
yeah,
and you start to see the same thing over and over and over again, I get it. I mean, I understand as we sit here, and as frustrating as it is sometimes, and we'll get the calls after wins that are still frustrated. I mean, I understand it. Because this is kind of how often it tends to be at the end of years.
You want to try and give him the benefit of the doubt as much as you can.
Well, because oftentimes he takes the brunt of the L when he doesn't deserve it. But today's one where you can't defend him.
Yeah. No, you can't defend him
No,
today.
today's one where he was bad, man.
No, he stood up there and admitted it, but, man, I don't, I kind of think, well, okay, it is what it is with the turnovers, but, like, how many pick sixes has this guy thrown this year? It's one thing just to throw interceptions, but just give away points? That part of it's tough. That part of it's tough, and, hell, I want to believe. I think we all want to believe. But I don't know. I just don't. I don't know that part of it probably will not get better.
No, he's going to have to play better next week if you want to go ahead and knock out a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yep.
The best to ever do it in the playoffs, because he's going to be at his best.
Yeah.
He always is in those games. Yeah. So Dak's going to have to play his best level of football. He's going to have to turn it around. He's probably going to have to carry that offense, because right now they got a lot of question marks with that offensive line, with the running game. You're not getting a lot of separation at receiver. I got a massive question marks with the play caller.
Yeah.
Big time question marks with him.
Yeah, I didn't need this game going into the playoffs. I didn't need this game at all. I needed them going out and beating a rookie quarterback, and even if it was like I called it, like I said, 27-21, that's what I needed. I didn't need the offense looking as bad as it did. I didn't need the special teams. The guy's been money kicking field goals. He missed an extra point.
The last thing you want is a kicker maybe lacking some confidence heading in.
Hell?
Holy cow.
But Turpin returning punts, you're kind of in that mode now where you're like, he's either going to bring it back all the way or
there might not be a more overrated Cowboy in my memory than Kevontae Turpin.
I think that they're he's helped you with field position, but has it helped you to the point where you can not look at the couple of
I get it. He's in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
You've been waiting all year for the big return.
Yeah.
He's giving you a couple good fun ones.
Yeah.
There's no touchdowns. And now he coughed up one against Houston. He coughed up one today. He's got to be better, man. You can't be doing that. Or get the hell off the field.
No.
My God. Let's go out to line 6. Mike in Dallas. Mike, what's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas? Appreciate you taking my call. All right. Man, listen, you talking about an overrated Cowboy. I'm sorry, man. Brian, me and you went back and forth last week, and I brought up the salary. I'm not going to do this again.
Okay.
But the play on the field, man, the eyeball test.
Sure.
Dak Prescott is an above average at best quarterback.
Okay.
And if he doesn't have the full weapons on offense and defense, he will not win you a game. He will not win you a game.
I appreciate the call, Mike.
We didn't cut him off.
No, we didn't.
His phone went dead.
That might
right?
he might have just died. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm just going to listen to him. I'm not going to.
Yeah, Mike. I'm sorry if you were still there. That was not us cutting you off.
Yeah.
I apologize, brother.
Yeah.
But it's hard to look. I do think a lot of quarterbacks in this league need help. I think that's been proven.
Yeah.
Unless you're a special, rare quarterback, elite, which I think Dak is really good. I don't think he's in the elite category by any means.
Well, if he wasn't throwing all these interceptions, I think we'd be talking about him in a different light.
Yeah,
I really do.
He was playing at a very high level. Until this game, Dak was up there, analytically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're one of those guys or gals that believes in analytics and statistics and all that and rankings and stuff, if you take away the interception, but you can't.
It's hard not to.
It's hard
part
not
of the game.
to. He's got 50.
And not all of them were on him, but today it was.
Yeah, 50. He's got 15 of those things, and he missed 5 games. That's just not good enough. And, the caller, hey, I'm sorry I lost you because I was going to let you make your point.
Yeah. No, and I think it is a fair point. I do think Dak is certainly good enough to win with. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
The intangibles with him are superior.
You were winning games when he was turning over the ball, though, too. And now,
because he'll come back and also make some outstanding
plays.
plays.
What I'm saying. That's what I was kind of, he had that rough the first quarter, and then they drove the ball and got the touchdown right before the end of half. And I was thinking, okay, get a 3 and out, and then all of a sudden, what do? You get them on a 3 and out, and you go 3 and out.
Yeah,
and then you get another 3 and out.
But today it wasn't enough. Today was horrible. It was absolutely horrendous, and he put it perfectly himself. All right, let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan. Tolo, baby. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, we can talk more about the quarterback situation. Plus, we will hear from Jerry Jones, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and more of your calls and texts as the postgame show rolls on. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Thanks for choosing Whataburger. What can I get started for you?
At Whataburger, each meal.
Today.
3rd and 6, back to throw it out to the right, intercepted, and there's going to be a walk-in, pick 6 by Fuller. He went right back to the well, and Fuller was sitting right on it.
Yeah, it looked like maybe the same play back-to-back, as Dak was lucky the play right before wasn't a pick 6 by Kendall Fuller, and then he tried to force it again, another out route to Noah Brown, which he threw it inside, and Kendall Fuller said, "Thank you, I'll take that to the house," for a touchdown. You had 6 targets for Noah Brown, 1 catch for 10 yards. And Noah Brown's been good this year for the Cowboys, make no mistake. But felt like a lot of balls were kind of forced his way today. And I think you got to just try and, if you're forcing a ball, it just needs to go to 88. I'm going to be a lot less, and I think a lot of Cowboy fans will be a lot less upset if you're just trying to force feed it to your best receiver. And hands down, that is CeeDee Lamb right now. And he just was not as involved as he should have been today. No. And you cannot lose in a playoff game and have that be the case. And that was the case last year when you lost to San Francisco. That's got to be corrected next week against Tampa Bay.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And I think that, to me, I saw a tweet. You talk about players going after players. Shannon Sharp said Noah Brown must have pictures on Dak Prescott to keep, God.
I think our buddy Nick Eatman was saying, Dak's feeding it to Noah Brown like it's Michael Irvin.
Yeah, but that's, and I think there's some positive things about Noah Brown, because we've seen Noah Brown make some plays. We have. But the problem is, though, when it's a struggle, it's a struggle, and that, I don't think any of the receivers, but you have to kind of figure these things out. You're going to have to figure out, I don't know how much movement and stuff we saw from CeeDee Lamb today. That that good movement that we get where he's kind of he's kind of probing the defense a little bit. He's like moving in a little bit, moving out. Then he kind of goes all the way across. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much you really saw that today, but I think all throws that go to CeeDee Lamb are probably all pretty good throws, and then the other guys, it was disappointing that T.Y. Hilton dropped 2 balls today.
Sure was.
Because I think both of them would have been first down plays. And he's been pretty good with those plays.
Been great.
Making
Maybe it was just an off game for him. Get it out now.
I don't know, but, man, your quarterback was bad. You didn't block very well up front. You turned the ball. There's a lot of things. But, play caller, a lot of things you could go into. But, yeah, they've got to figure this thing out. And, either this time next week, if they play and they lose, then you can kind of get into all those things like, okay, this is the thing that was going on all year. And then, or if they win, you can say, okay, these are the things that they were hanging their hat on, and that's why they were able to have some playoff success.
Would you say that right now the biggest concern heading into the playoffs is still probably cornerback 2?
I think the wide receiver, the consistency of the wide receivers behind CeeDee Lamb, I think is an issue, and I think the left cornerback is clearly an issue.
Yeah.
And I don't know if these teams are going to let you rush the passer, but if you don't cover well enough on the back end, it doesn't matter what you do.
Well, Tom Brady's going to be attacking that left corner spot. Well, and now you're going to have to wait and see what the severity is with Deron Bland and that chest injury, and what the report is tomorrow morning.
Yeah. How many times did you see? Even McLaurin had a bad drop on a crossing route that would have been a first down. So, yeah, they're not doing a very good job of playing coverage right now.
No,
overall.
All right, let's get back out to the phones. We got PJ in Fort Worth. PJ, you're on with Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. I've just got a couple of quick things. I'll be quick with them. Zach, I agree with you 1,000% on the predictability. Kellen Moore it's just ridiculous on their running plays. They're all the same. Most of them are right up the middle. They don't work, and his predictability just drives me crazy. And the second thing, Dak tonight, I tried to look as close as I could on the telecast. He is zeroing in on one receiver. He's not going through his reads. He threw into double coverage at least 4 or 5 times tonight, and he's just not going to the receivers that are open. And it's really frustrating, and I appreciate your all's time, and I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
Appreciate you, PJ. Yeah, I mean, Kellen Moore, I'm hoping he comes up with a little bit of a better game plan next week against Tampa Bay, and maybe this was something where, hey, they knew the situation, they were being a little bit vanilla, but this is pretty consistent with the run game. This has been a problem for the last month. I also wonder, and I'm excited to hear, I know tomorrow morning, Brian, you'll get in, you'll be able to watch the tape.
I'm looking forward to that like I always do.
But I wonder how much, I know it's easier said than done, right? Throw to the open receiver. I wonder how much separation there was today. And I wanted to try and ask that to Brad Sham from his view from the booth. Yeah. But I wonder, from Dak's perspective, when we talk about, hey, throw it to the open guy, but who was getting open?
I know I saw one tweet from Todd Archer, who was at the game, and he brought up the Noah Brown situation. So why would you throw it to Noah Brown when CeeDee Lamb was wide open? And then that's a misread on Dak.
That's
a point in time in the game, and it's really easy to sit above the field and see the field, but that's Dak's job. I mean, it's his job to. I think when he goes back and looks at the tape, he's going to go, okay, I probably shouldn't have thrown it there.
Yeah.
Okay, I probably shouldn't have thrown it over here, because there was a lot of that tonight. Just a lot of poor decisions, poor throws. Guys not separate. I mean, that's going to happen. When you get in the playoffs, they're not going to give you much room in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm watching the Packers right here, and the Packers and the Lions, they're not giving anybody any room in this game.
No.
You got to find.
Not everybody's good, man.
Yeah.
You're not playing any bad teams.
There you go. Yeah. That's just kind of where it goes.
Yep, no question about it. All right, let's hear from the owner and general manager, Jerry Jones, from Washington after this 26-6 loss.
Let me get back up. We get to suck on that all week. And if that doesn't make you want to get ready to go in about 6-7 days, nothing else will. And that was as thorough a butt kicking as we've had this year. And we're going to find out if that'll get you ready or not. It should, with what these guys are made of.
I'm surprised.
That's all I got to say. And I'm frankly, they're sound. They've got really outstanding players, and they're very physical. And so you can basically see a scenario where some of the physicalness that were there, but more important than anything is we get to, and I know you've heard that, and I haven't been down here, but I've heard it. But this one, you get to come back over a bad dream and get to Jimmy Stewart, had to have a wonderful Christmas, come back next week, get back in the gear. But that's certainly the way I look at it, and I'm so disappointed for our fans, but not half as disappointed as I would be if I were sitting here this time next week. So we got something to go for, and we'll empty this bucket this week.
How concerning is it to perform this way in the final week of the regular season, going into the playoffs in this kind of fashion?
Well, I would go down just individually and look at each individual, and I'm sure each individual will have performances there that they can and will do better, and so that's for them to say. But make no mistake about it, that's a good team that we played out there tonight, and they could have very easily and probably should have been in the playoff where we were. But we're better than that, and we all believe that very strongly. But now then, we've got to put it out there and get it out there for everybody to look at here next week.
Gary, you've seen how good this team can be when they perform at their highest level. How confident are you in this group that they can make a deep playoff run and turn the page?
There's no doubt in my mind that as a team, not just individually, but as a team, that we can come back and take this nightmare, whatever you want to call it, and turn it into a plus. I'm thrilled that we've got the opportunity, and I'm thrilled that we didn't have to look over there at the Philadelphia game and look at the San Francisco game and say, boy, did we mess up. Now, all of that is psychological, and what you saw out there was more, that was more technique, that was more physical, that had all of that. And so everybody's got to get in and do better than that.
Jerry, you have defended.
Today after,
what?
How would you assess how Dak played today?
Well, I don't know that throughout the game that I have seen continually throughout a ball game, continue to see his challenges that he was having, what we were having out there. And I want to give them credit for mixing it up there and giving us whatever our issues were. Everybody in this room has seen Dak play. And everybody's seen most of the rest of them quite a bit, and have for years. And they don't generally play that way. So let's get in here and take the opportunity we've got and use this as a motivator. Not that this bunch needs it, motivation for our first playoff game here, and so this year. But surprised, but no more disheartened than just as much as both San Francisco and Philadelphia winning, and we're not able to move the ball. I think you can make a case. I'm not so sure. What is the most motivational thing a week before you go out there? I know this, we didn't rest anybody. So everybody got to bite this sour apple.
Yep, he's absolutely right.
He's right about that, and I hope his team feels the same way. And I think that's why Mike McCarthy left those starters out there. I think that up at the podium, Mike can talk about the disappointments and stuff like that, but deep down, I'm sure that because we heard some locker room, some Micah Parsons, I've seen some quotes and stuff.
And we'll hear from Mike here in just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry's kind of like what I was feeling like, I mean, he's the owner, general manager, but, I hope what he saw is what those players are feeling right now. He avoided the question about Dak. And, he's got to be careful about that. I don't think you need the general manager saying, yeah, my guy was terrible out there today. He doesn't want to create that, even though that Dak would admit that he was terrible out there today. But, I think Jerry's non-answer will tell you all you think, because he's usually very complimentary of Dak and how Dak played. And, that just wasn't the case today when Jerry was in the post.
No, and I mean, today wasn't a day where you can be complimentary. The quarterback was bad,
yeah.
and there's no way around that.
A couple of guys played really well. I think that we're going to see that Oso Digizua played well.
Him and Dorrance Armstrong really, I thought were outstanding
probably
today.
Played pretty well. Yeah, those are the kind of guys that you're going to,
And Chauncey Golston.
11 tackles today.
Yeah, I mean, he led the team with 11 tackles, 5 solo, 6 assisted. And then, unfortunately, Micah got a half sack and Dorrance with a half sack, and that was not good
for
me.
You lose a beard.
Bobby Belt and I had a preseason bet at training camp in Oxnard. I went the over that Micah Parsons would get 15.5 sacks. Loser would have to shave the beard.
What a play.
We had a Detroit Lions touchdown.
They got a flag on the field.
Oh, no. We'll update you on the playoff picture. If Green Bay wins, they are in. The Lions were eliminated earlier today with the Seahawks win. So the Seahawks are going to be watching the Sunday night game, hoping the Lions can knock off the Packers. Green Bay currently leading 9-3. Lions win. They get that 7th seed. They'll be going to San Francisco.
I tell you what, they just had a touchdown call back on a holding call.
Damn.
So
I think it was the rookie, too, Jamison Williams from Alabama. Big, deep shot from Jared Goff. So we will, and definitely was a hold. It was a good call.
Yep.
We'll see what happens moving forward with this game. And also, as soon as we get the times from Super Wild Card Weekend, we will let you know that as well. We'll also go through the rest of the wild card slate in the AFC and the NFC. But we'll also hear from Micah Parsons, CD Lamb, more of your calls and texts. Jerry brought to you by the Salvation Army Love Beyond. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
All right, Pepsi-loving football fans, it's time we had a lesson in
Snap is back. 4-man rush. Throws it in the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb. That one was a bullet. That was a strike. 15 yards to Lamb.
There is our drive of the game. Cowboys' lone touchdown drive. Wasn't really hard to pick, was it, guys? That was pretty easy,
Peyton could pick that one. Did you pick that one there, Peyton?
Yeah, Peyton's pretty smart.
Russell?
Peyton's not usually, he's not good at getting New Year's Eve kisses. But what he is good at is collecting drives of the game.
He is good at that.
And he sure was able to get that one. Right before the half, Cowboys get a 14-play, 77-yard, 2.5-minute drive that ends with a Dak Prescott 15-yard TD to CeeDee Lamb.
Kind of felt like that was going to, maybe things were going to kind of stabilize for you a little bit. Coming back, you get a 3 and out and just can't. I'll tell you what was bad was that when they missed the field goal and you couldn't get anything, best field position you got all day. And you go out there and you go 3 and out after getting the ball basically at your 40-yard line. That was tough. That was a tough day today for them.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Drive of the game brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Overall, it was putrid from the offense. I called it a constipated performance. Really the best way that I could phrase it. Oh. You didn't get anything going on the offensive side. Oh, man, was that a missed field goal?
Yeah.
It's been a bad day for field goal kickers.
Yeah,
I was happy when Washington's Joey Schley couldn't make a kick.
Yeah.
But then when that kind of eked over to Brett Maher, that was gross. Now Detroit can't kick a field goal. Yeah. We know that, the Eagles have had some issues this year. Not good for special teams. But offensively, the Cowboys' running game was bad. You couldn't throw the football. I've talked about how upset I was about not getting CeeDee Lamb involved. We just have to really hope that this thing gets corrected. And this doesn't carry over to Tampa Bay, Brian, right? As Brad says, next week is not like...
I never understand what he's saying about that.
It doesn't always carry over. It doesn't always correlate. Mm-hmm. But glass half full, the Cowboys have been good following
I thought, I hope you're right about that. I kind of felt like that, Dallas had been doing a really good job on third downs.
Well, today was
but this
not.
If they were over 50% today, that'd been 8 straight, which would have broke the record that they would have had.
Yeah.
So, to go out there and to lay an egg like you did, and I kind of felt like this was a meaningful game. You wanted to, I'll tell you what, you'd have felt like crap if the Eagles would have gone out. And that game at the end for the Eagles.
It got within a touchdown.
You're absolutely right. And all of a sudden, what if you're sitting there and all of a sudden, you get one of those miraculous comeback, fluky type plays. And by the way, Jalen Hurts is still hurt. He took some hits today. He's a little banged up, a little sore, I believe. This will be interesting. They got the bye, good for them, but
is it?
Well,
yeah, I get what you mean.
But that's a team. I don't know if he's going to be well throughout, but we'll see. Anyway, it's just I felt like though after Dallas had scored on that drive, that second half you come out and you kind of get things coordinated again. They just couldn't do it. Give the Commanders a lot of credit the way they played defense.
Oh, absolutely. And they've got, and this is something we've talked about the week leading into it, even though, they didn't have Jonathan Allen today.
Yeah.
It's a team that's got a stout front seven.
Better front seven than what you played last week.
Yeah.
Against Tennessee.
A 4-6-9 Texan, best thing that could happen to the Cowboys is a repeat of this week next week, so the Cowboys can move on from Dak. One, I don't think that will happen. But two, here's my biggest fear, and maybe this is why I was a big Romo defender, and I have been for the majority of the time. Now, today, I'm not defending Dak because he doesn't deserve it, but I do defend Dak normally. I have zero faith in this organization to evaluate and replace a quarterback and find a franchise quarterback. I don't know why anybody should. One, it's not that easy. Two, they've lucked into the last 2 guys they've gotten. Who did they want over Dak Prescott? They wanted Paxton Lynch.
Oh, yeah.
That guy wasn't any good. Now, no longer in the NFL. Who did they want after Paxton Lynch in that draft? Brian Broaddus?
Cook?
Connor Cook. What's he doing now?
Probably selling cars in Michigan.
So why do you have and Tony Romo, you lucked out and were able to keep him on the roster. 1, he was a Sean Payton fine. 2, Quincy Carter got himself cut.
That's true.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have Tony Romo.
That's a good point.
So, and if it weren't for the injury that happened, who knows what happens with the Dak Prescott fine? I don't really have, and I don't know why any fan would, any faith in this organization to find and replace and get a franchise guy. Maybe Dak isn't the guy. Time will tell. Who knows? He's got his chance to prove all the doubters wrong starting next week and slay the dragon and Tom Brady and go on a run. And by God, I hope he does. But that's my biggest fear. And that's why for those that lived through the 5-11, 5-11, 5-11 regime, and I know you know it better than anybody, when you didn't have a quarterback, the fact that you have somebody that at least gives you a chance every single game day is better than not having a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think there's a lot on the line, though. I think there's a lot on the line. I don't think, listening to Jerry Jones talk tonight, if you have something very similar happen to what we had tonight, you go out there and you lay another egg. I would not want to be on that plane coming back home. Well, Jerry flies separately in his own plane, but I would not want to be going into that meeting on Monday morning and Jerry Jones being as pissed off as he was tonight about that loss. He gave the Commanders credit, rightfully so. But deep down inside, he's thinking there's no way in hell that we were going to lose that football game, and to play that way. And if you have another one like that, people say, well, it's just going to be the same old, same old. Nah, there'll be an 80-year-old man on the warpath over there. That would you lose a game to Tampa where you don't look good offensively, you don't run the ball. You might not, but you don't. You look bad in this game coming up in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to be around there on Monday morning with Jerry Jones.
Sure.
I sure wouldn't.
All right, let's go back out to the phones. Let's go to line 6. We got Jay in Dallas. Jay, what's going on, my man?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I have a question. Why it seems like the Cowboys defense has it struggles against bad QBs, third and fourth string QBs? They seem to struggle a lot. Why is that?
Appreciate the call, Jay. Well, one, I think that the Cowboys defense is pretty banged up right now. Two, it could be a lack of tape on the player. But, Brian, you talked all week, and I guess this also goes back to Josh Dobbs a week ago. One, I do think that they do tend to struggle against mobile quarterbacks.
They do.
For whatever reason.
They do.
That gives them problems.
They do.
But Sam Howell's a guy that might not end up being that bad.
I kind of tried to tell you guys that all week. Listen, this guy there was a reason. He was a good player at North Carolina that had his last year he took a lot of blame for a team that was talent poor in some areas. I don't know why after the preseason stuff, I thought he played pretty well. I understand they got Carson Wentz. We're never going to see Carson Wentz play again. We've seen the last of him. But I will say this, the struggle that they have, I don't know if it's about the tape. I just think that you're right now in a situation where you're not very stable at left corner and you don't rush the passer well enough like you did earlier. There was some pressure today and stuff like there was like the play that they kind of botched. They were trying to run like fake the jet sweep and then maybe throw a pass off the jet sweep, but it got all messed up at the timing. And then Osa gets the sack. It's kind of where we're at right now. Either if they don't create negative plays, and I can't remember the last time that they called holding on a Micah Parsons
got tackled
on a
today.
Micah Parsons rush. I can't remember the last time. And so, all of a sudden you were drawing negative plays. You were drawing holding penalties. You were making teams have to play behind the chains. And when the Cowboys get somebody to play behind the chains, the pass rush gets there, they could rally.
Sure.
There was some third down and longs today that they had, and they were able to rally, keep it from being a first down. Teams are staying ahead of the chains right now. And, that's really kind of what it's all about right now. You're just not been able to get teams, you've not been able to create enough negative plays for your defense that way.
All right, let's go to our buddy Charlie, line 4 in New Mexico. Charlie, what's going on?
Hey, guys. First of all, we got a 7-year starter at quarterback. I'm tired of these podium championships where it's just Dak, rinse, and repeat. Do it on the field. Stop doing it at the podium every week. And here's the thing, guys. Now that the season's over, I've been a fan over 40 years. I don't see this team, winning 3 straight playoff games against good football teams. And if they have to go play 3 football teams, even if they win this weekend, They're all going to be on grass.
You're picking up on that too, huh?
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't see it. I just don't see the consistency in this team.
Yeah. Garrett was talking about it. I know I brought it up. Rob Phillips, we've all been kind of talking about that, the grass stuff. It might affect the way your offense works, maybe with some of the neutralization of your speed, maybe at wide receiver. Some guys like the CDs and stuff like that. But to me, I think it's more about your defense. I don't think your defense looks as quick playing on grass as it does on turf.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much about the offense. I think it's more about the defense is really what I'm thinking, especially the pass rush.
Which is interesting. Definitely the pass rush. But I will say this. I mean, the defense kept you in the game today.
They did.
The defense played pretty well, they were banged up a little bit. But you're right. I mean, when you look at the Jacksonville game was the worst game the defense played all year, that was on grass.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's something to it.
I'm not looking for excuses. They're just not good enough in some areas. They're just not good enough at left corner.
Left corner specifically.
Yeah, they're not good enough at left corner, and that's a problem. I mean, they told you they're not good enough at left corner. They've claimed guys, they signed guys, they put guys in the practice squad. They're trying to go through guys to kind of figure this out. And here you are, you're going to go into a playoff game against the greatest player ever to play in the NFL, and you're
just going to exploit it.
And you're going to have to figure out what's going on at left corner.
Yep. And you got a pretty good receiver over there in Chris Godwin, who was banged up in week 1. You didn't have to worry about him as much. In fact, he left that game because he re-injured his hamstring. Well, now he's healthy.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot to deal with there. All right, let's go to line 1. We got Patrick in Richland. Patrick, how you doing, sir?
Good. Thanks, guys, for taking my call, and I hate to say that because it's stupid. First of all, I just want everybody to relax. I mean, if we lose next weekend, everything's all right, man. The life's still going to go on. We're going to come back next season, and we're going to have the same hopes. It is what it is. It's, we just, I was cussing for the first quarter and a half going, this team sucks. And then I just realized this is some funny crap. I mean, how bad they played. I'm like, how does this happen? I mean, how can everybody play? Not Dak, beside Dak, everyone sucked. But you know what? They'll be back next weekend, and they may play like Super Bowl champions. So I just want everybody to calm down. You had a guy last week that called, and they won, and he was almost crying about how bad they sucked. Well, guess what? It's the NFL. It's tough. So I appreciate you guys taking my call, and I'll hang up and listen, brothers.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Patrick. Thanks for the call, man.
I want some of that stuff that guy's on.
Just laughing it off.
Nah, just calm and stuff like that. I mean, hey, it's, there's a lot of people that don't feel the way he does.
No.
And I'm not saying the way Patrick feels is wrong or right. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that just aren't going to let go like he is.
I can't do it. I wanted to punch this wall behind us.
You were not good today.
No.
You weren't good today.
I was
because you have to shave your beard.
That also is me a little bit upset.
Yeah.
But
check into our show, by the way, on the G-Bag Nation this week, 2 to 7.
Yeah, you can watch
a lot of Cowboy talk, a lot of playoff talk, but Zach will not have his beard tomorrow.
I'll have a baby face.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to my guy, Micah Parsons, who I love dearly.
Patrick would say, don't worry about it, man. You're good.
It's going to be fine. I'm going to laugh it off.
Yeah, you'll be good.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Let's hit line 5. Hakeem in Frisco. What's going on, my dude?
Gentlemen, I appreciate you all's comments and insight. Broadus, I feel like you are the Yoda of all things Dallas Cowboy insight, so appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate you saying that.
A couple things. Number one, Dak played awful today. I'm a Dak fan. He played like trash today. I don't think he's going to play like that next week. But I guess for me, and more importantly, I got concerns more from a defensive perspective. I got concerns that the defense, especially up the middle, is going to try to do a lot of blitzing, and they're not going to be able to take care of that because, as we know, with Tom Brady, I don't care if you blitz him or whatever, he's going to let go of the ball. So, Broadus, I want to get your thoughts on what do you see as far as the interior of the defense and how important that's going to be as far as getting pressure on Brady, and as well as if you're the Dallas Cowboys, do the cornerbacks play coverage or do they play zone in relation to that? Shout out to my man Mike, Laker Mike. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, man. Anytime you play Tom Brady, any defensive coordinator I've ever talked to about Tom Brady, they say you beat him through the middle of the defense. You try and get his eye level down. I'm interested in watching Cincinnati play. I told you that in this breakdown this week. I'm interested to see how the Saints play him, and try and get an idea. There's a couple other teams. I think San Francisco was another one I want to watch just to kind of see what they were doing to him. But yeah, it's about, you're likely going to have Hankins back, but that's a run player right there. The thing about Brady is, he's not going to move. I mean, he'll slide in the pocket and stuff like that and adjust. But to me, the pressure is going to have to be, can you win on the outside against these tackles though too? But yeah, if you can push the middle and get the eye level down, that's going to be a must. But it's more difficult than it is, more easier said than done.
Yeah,
as they do.
No question.
But I'm not interested in sitting there and letting Tom Brady pick me apart.
No, you've got to find a way to get some penetration in the middle.
You got to find a way to get it, but also on the outside, you got to find a way to cover.
Hey, Micah did dominate Tristan Wirfs in that first matchup. Yeah. That was giving Brady some fits. I mean, he was we saw the NFL film sound, and he was over there just screaming at his lineman, keep that Parsons guy away from me. So we'll submit. Then again, on turf. Now you're on the grass, and Micah seems a little bit more banged up than he was in that game. We'll actually hear from Micah Parsons on the other side, plus more of your calls and texts. Enjoyed getting to unpack this one with you. As always, 877-881-1053. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Whether you're getting ready to purchase a home, setting up a college fund for your
they got me back on my game.
Sam Howell's going to take over at his 33-yard line. Back to throw on first down. A lot of time, and he airs it out down the right side. 1 for 1. McLaurin over the top of Diggs. Sorry, Mullen, not Diggs. All I saw was the 7.
What a perfect throw here by Sam Howell.
Perfect throw.
Sure was. Dropped it into the bucket there. Sam Howell, who I thought threw the best deep ball in the draft last year, the quarterbacks. What a play of the game. The Whataburger Breakfast Burger is back. A fresh 100% beef patty, melted cheese, hash brown sticks, fresh cracked egg, bacon, and creamy pepper sauce. Available from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. for a limited time. What are you laughing about over there?
Nothing, man. Did you go back and look at your notes on the guy? Did you take? I know now.
No, last year I didn't take any
you didn't take notes. So
but this year I got all my notes.
Yeah, you and I are like 60, 70 players deep into this thing already.
Yeah.
So as soon as all that happens.
Now I'll have all my notes. I can go back and be like, what a schmuck. I really liked this guy.
I've done that
horrible.
now for like the last 7 or 8 years. But yeah, it's.
This guy turned out good. I hated him.
Hopefully they keep playing. We don't want to do any draft shows or anything like that. Hopefully they keep playing.
But, I was shocked that Sam Howell slid to the 5th round.
I was, too. I just knew how tough he was.
Maybe it was the size thing.
It probably was. He looked all right today.
A little small. Yeah, he wasn't amazing by any means, but
he didn't mess it up.
He was pretty good.
He tried to, though. He threw that interception.
He did. Oh, that was a bad ball.
That was a really bad ball.
To Malik Hooker, certainly.
But other than that, man, they're pretty good today.
The defense held their own there. Certainly kept the Cowboys in the game. Chauncey Golston had a good one. Osa Digizua was good. Dorrance Armstrong was pretty good today. What'd you think of Coyle in this one, getting some running at safety? I mean, you'll probably have a better idea tomorrow.
Was there a couple of times, though, where they kind of moved him a little bit and he gave up
There was one for sure. He gave up a big pass. I think it was to Dotson over the middle. It was either Dotson or McLaurin.
I don't know why he was playing slot. I think it was Dotson. I don't know why. To me, I would not have put him in the slot like that. I think you're asking a lot from a player. Like I say, there's several of these guys when you sit down and you get to watch the All-22, you learn. You're like going, oh, I thought that was a bad, and then you realize that no, this was something else that happened. But I just kind of felt like that him, Mullen, okay, we're okay. Just kind of move on from that.
Yeah.
Let's not experiment anymore that way.
Here come the hecklers, the 254. Zach, you ready to shave?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, you are.
I'm ready for it.
Of course you are.
Bring it on. Walt the barber is going to come in tomorrow. He's gonna shave me. And for those of you that didn't know, Bobby Belt and I had a training camp over under 15.5 sacks for Micah Parsons. I took the over. I thought I was sitting pretty. And unfortunately, Micah finished with 13.5. Loser had to shave their beard, and I will have to shave. I have not been clean shaven since 2016, maybe even longer than that.
Looking forward to it for you.
So this is going to be rough, but I am ready to shave.
Walt will make you look good.
Yeah, I mean, Walt's going to do a great job. I don't know if I will look good, but Walt will do a fantastic job.
He will.
All right, so let's hear from Micah Parsons. Speaking of Micah, here's what Micah had to say following this 20-point defeat to the Washington Commanders.
Micah, how surprised were you by what you saw out there tonight?
I was pretty surprised. It's tough. Yeah, definitely surprised. When you talk about finishing the season strong, I wouldn't consider that finishing strong.
What do you attribute that performance to? I mean, you guys had so much to play for, and to come out there would look like maybe your worst performance of the season.
I don't know. I honestly don't know where you can start. From the very beginning of the game to the end, it just wasn't good. And when we're talking about championship teams, you got to perform better. But, I think everyone has a fall. And there's a rise in every movie. So hopefully this was our falls and we can rise up and next week get it together because we got to play better.
Micah, you guys have preached resiliency all season long. How confident are you guys that you can just turn the page quickly and gear up for the playoffs and hopefully make a long run?
I mean, our record shows every time we lost one, we go out and show people what we really are. So hopefully we could do that. But we definitely can't come out and perform like this today. So I'm very confident. and this team, myself, that, you know, I'm going to be ready.
Because of this relatively slim chances to improve your playoff standing, was there any lack of motivation coming out there for you guys today? Do you feel like that was a factor at all?
I don't think, honestly, like, I feel like it's very simple for me. Like, I'm not playing for seeding. Like, I'm not playing for, you know, whatever, however the people may want to say we playing for. Like, if you put your cleats on and you put your helmet on, like, that's what you should be playing for. Like, the people across from you, the people you work with, the people you know what I'm saying? Like, the motivation to me is simple. Like, we saw last week, should be grateful just to step on the field. And I feel like if everybody's not, you know, grateful for this opportunity that we have, like, I just want to play. Like, regardless, banged up or not, like, I'm grateful to still be here and to be able to play. So that's all the motivation people should have. And if people don't got that same motivation, then, you know, we probably won't go far.
How disappointing is it to have a performance like that?
For me, I feel like every L is disappointing. Because at the end of the day, like, you truly look at it, you beat ourselves. You beat yourself. Like, if you're really a good team, you can't afford to beat yourself. So it's very disappointing to me. And if anybody else that come up here and says it's not disappointing, you know, they got to look yourself in the mirror.
So how do you then?
We'll certainly need Micah Parsons to turn it on and have himself a Defensive Player of the Year type performance. You look like you are totally not buying that he can do that.
No, I'm not. I'm just buying the questions.
The questions you're not liking.
Zach, how disappointed are you? You have to shave your beard tomorrow.
Well, no bleep. I'm disappointed, Brian.
Yeah, same kind of questions Micah got tonight, right?
Yeah. Well, and you could tell, like, he's.
I mean,
not
and you know, that's the thing that to me is like I don't know. I don't know what questions you ask the guy. But I mean, Micah, how disappointed are you that, you know, and you keep asking the same question over and over and over again. He's disappointed. They got beat. They got rolled. He's right. If they play like this again, they're going to be home. You know, I don't know how any other way he could say it. You know, I mean, you know, but he's a huge part of what you do defensively. The problem is, though, right now is that teams know that. Teams are not going to let Micah Parsons. There was a couple of times today where he had an opportunity for sacks.
Yeah, he did.
And he got there.
I remember every one, Brian.
He got a half sack with him and Armstrong.
Yeah.
Got in there. So, you know, that's the challenge now for DQ.
No, yeah.
He's got to say, maybe there's something that we haven't seen from DQ that he's saving, and or maybe not. I kind of thought that after the bye that we would see Turpin and others, you know, they, like, you know, maybe I'm giving these coaches too much credit for having a plan, but
no, maybe they do. Maybe they have some added wrinkles.
There's something, but if Mike McCarthy's right and they practiced like ass last week, and that's all.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, that's all Mike needs to remind him. Like, if you want to go out there and be one and done and, you know, flop around and get beat and embarrass yourself again, well, let's go out here and not do anything in practice. We'll go out here and I get it. The whole league was locked into what was going on in Cincinnati.
Right.
I mean, the league, but there's teams that played today that got it
still
done.
Played well. I mean, look at San Francisco.
Look at Buffalo.
Look at Buffalo. Hell yeah, look at Buffalo. The
Cincinnati.
Team Cincinnati.
There's teams that went out there and, you know, they didn't use anything as an excuse. They went out there and played and got it done.
No question.
So to me, that's you know. I mean,
You're absolutely right.
We can't keep asking, oh, Mike, are you disappointed in the way?
Well, and to your point, yeah, some of that's got to be on Dan Quinn in the 903. You know, teams have figured out Micah. I mean, my whole thing is like
haven't figured out Micah. They figured out that they figured out that there's ways that you could take him out of the game, and it's the quick passing game. It's screens. It's run the ball at him. You know, I mean, it's. Listen, this guy, there's a lot of guys playing banged up on defense. He's not the only one, you know, that's playing banged up. There's a lot of guys. Curse might be playing more hurt than anybody out there, you know, but he keeps playing. But teams have kind of figured out, hey, this is how you handle Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And now Dan Quinn is like, okay, there's stuff I was saving for the playoffs, and here we go.
But also, you know, there's the old adage, right? Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games.
That cat's made a lot of big plays for you. I'm not questioning
I'm not questioning that either, but you need a big performance from Micah Parsons, and I don't really have a question that he's going to show up and hopefully give you one on Wild Card Weekend against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of that cat that'll rise to the occasion and give you a big kind of performance.
I hope so.
I mean, that's what I'm banking on.
Yep.
He's that type of player, especially against a Tom Brady.
Yep.
No question about that. All right, coming up on the other side, we will give you your defensive stand of the game. We'll get back to your calls. Plus, we got CeeDee Lamb for you, Dallas Cowboys football. You are listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together?
obstacle of energy into an opportunity to achieve your business goals. Visit ProStarEnergy.com.
2nd and goal at the 5, and he is in shotgun with backs on either side of him. And the ball goes into the left side of the end zone. It's intercepted. Malik Hooker picked it off in the end zone.
There you go. That's our defensive stand of the game, brought to you by Reliant and NRG Company. Malik Hooker with the interception there. And that was his first interception since the Indianapolis Colts game, in which he was a game captain. He does. And Malik Hooker's interception, that's his 3rd of the season. That ties his career high that he set in 2017, his rookie year with the Indianapolis Colts.
There you go.
Also, congratulations to Tony Pollard. He eclipsed 1,000 rushing yards this season, the first 1,000-yard season of his career. By the way, Brian.
2 of his worst games ever.
Oh, against the Commanders.
Both of them against the Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Bucks.
Yeah.
To open the season.
Yeah.
Not a good game for him in week 1, so he'll be looking to salvage that. Speaking of that game, as the Cowboys will be opening up against Tampa Bay, as they are the 5 seed, Tampa Bay the 4 seed. We're waiting to find out the official game time of that, but Cowboys have opened up as a 3-point favorite in that game on the road against Tampa Bay.
Let's think of the bounce back.
The bounce back.
The bounce back game for the Cowboys.
People know Cowboys are really good coming off a loss. So, hey.
Well, like
they're not dead yet.
No, but what they need to is, okay, you've really kind of exhausted all the things you're going to do at left corner. You need to figure something out. You need to figure something out with Bland. Hopefully he'll be well enough. You know, he couldn't come back in the game. He's a tough kid. But, man, I just kind of feel like that you need to get him out there, get right. Everybody else, I don't know about playing. I'm sticking with Wright and I'm sticking with Bland if I can. You know, I just think that gives you the best opportunity right now. Everybody else, all these other guys they've run out, Alexander, Mullen, all these other guys, we're past the point now of running guys out there and seeing how we're going to look. You know, they got some issues out there for sure, but I'm those guys are no longer on my active list as I look at it.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Well, Rhodes.
Mullen didn't show you.
Hey,
he's going to get torched in the postseason.
I'm just looking at Rhodes, and I'm saying, listen, this is a veteran guy. You know, maybe you find a way to the Buccaneers. I mean, they're kind of a down the field passing team,
right?
But are you really, really, really worried about their speed? Is there? I mean, I know I need to see about. I mean, I know you got those bodies, those big bodies and stuff. But are you worried about? I mean, can Rhodes play? Can Rhodes play in this type of a game? You know, against a team that's got some bigger, that might not, the receivers might, you know, that run, but not like playing against, you know, some of these guys around the league that we see, like the guys at Kansas City and places like that,
right.
Miami, you know, those teams.
Looking at the playoff picture here, in case you've missed it. In the NFC, the Eagles did lock up the number 1 seed as they went 14-3. They clinched the bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The Niners clinched the NFC West Division title weeks ago, but they got the win over Arizona today. They finished 13-4. They get the 2 seed. Minnesota, even though they beat the Bears, they get the 3 seed because of the win by the Niners, so they're the 3. The Bucs are the 4, the Cowboys the 5. So you'll have Cowboys at Tampa Bay next week. The Giants will get a rematch at Minnesota, which was an amazing game a few weeks ago that came down to a last-second field goal to give the Vikings a win in that one. And then the 7 seeds coming down to tonight. It's going to be either Seattle or Green Bay. Seattle got an overtime win over the Rams, which eliminated the Lions. But the Packers, as they play during Sunday Night Football right now as we speak against Detroit at home, they lead 9-6 as they're underway in the second half, just starting. If Green Bay wins, they will head to San Francisco. If they lose, that will punch Seattle's ticket as they will get the 7 seed and head to San Francisco.
And a shout out to Dan Campbell tonight in the Lions from what we've seen so far. The Lions are playing like they're trying to win a football game. They're not interested in, you know, I mean, that's what you're trying to do here. You're trying to have a winning season. You're trying to build culture to your program. But they're playing this game like they're trying to win. There's no backing down now. We're into the second half here, and they're coming out trying to throw the football and stuff. So good for them. If you're a Seattle Seahawks fan or a Seattle Seahawks member of their squad and all that, you've got some hope here in the second half.
Oh yeah.
This is the second time this year that the Lions have held the Packers without an offensive touchdown or a touchdown in the first half of a game. So, the Lions are
a stingy team.
They are very all you can ask for is now the team that you might want playing San Francisco to knock them out might be that Green Bay bunch. But Aaron Rodgers is
it's weird how Aaron Rodgers has struggled in San Francisco.
He has struggled some against San
Francisco. The team in which he wanted to draft him in his hometown. But
exactly.
He has struggled against Kyle Shanahan and the Niners throughout his career. All right, let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds to allow stations to ID themselves across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, you get Green Bay to knock off San Francisco. That's one grass turf down, or grass field, I should say, down as well. Possibility of a home game at AT&T Stadium
that's your hope right there. Is you got to find a way to do exactly what the Rams did last year. You get a home playoff game first, and then you get the opportunity to play one later. But Dallas is not going to have that home playoff game first.
Well, no, the Rams even went on the road the first two.
They beat Tampa?
They had to go to Arizona, and then they beat Tampa.
Yeah, Arizona, Tampa, and then got the championship game.
San Francisco went on that run as a wild card team.
I knew I was thinking about it the right way.
Yeah, you were. Yep, you absolutely were. Because LA was that 5 seed, like the Cowboys are.
I forgot about the Ram Arizona game.
Right. No, so the Cowboys are looking to replicate exactly what the Rams did. They got that 5-4 matchup, just like the Rams and Arizona Cardinals were last year.
They got to figure out how to beat Tampa. That's what they got to do.
Nope.
And not look like they did today.
They can't look. If they look like they did today,
you and I'll be doing one more.
It's going to be a long post-game show next week. Yeah, we're not going to be happy, and neither will any of these callers. In fact, let's get back to the phones, 877-881-1053. Let's go to Randy in Turlock. Randy, you're on the official post-game show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, thank you guys so much, Brian. I appreciate everything that you do. I listen to you like it's the gospel.
Appreciate that.
I'm probably one of the big Kellen Moore defenders. I'm probably the only one. Mm-hmm. I don't think his run offense is that predictable. I think it's just the lack of personnel. I mean, I don't think Jason Peters has that lateral movement that he used to have.
Boy, he doesn't.
But I was thinking this offensive line looks like they were having big trouble today. Is with Tyler Bialash's absence, him helping Dak with line concepts and protection plans. Do you think that could have been an issue with their lack of ability to run?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
And then with Damone Clark, I think he's a big liability in pass coverage, especially in zone concepts. He seems super lost. I'm a huge advocate moving Micah Parsons back to linebacker with Van Der Esch. And then the last thing, I was like, left corner is a huge issue, but don't worry, we're going to draft Phillips from Utah, and everything's going to be there. That will get fixed.
There you go.
And
okay.
Yeah, Brian, you hit all three of my corners when you were talking about prospects. You hit the very first three that I was looking at for this team.
Good for you. Well, hopefully we won't have to do draft coverage here for a few weeks.
He likes. All right, I appreciate the call there, Randy. So he's an Adrian Phillips fan. Adrian Phillips isn't bad.
Not a bad player.
I enjoyed watching him against Jordan Addison from USC. He held up pretty well.
He did.
He's got quick feet.
Yeah. My guy, I tell you, my guy at Mississippi State.
I love him. Yeah. Oh my gosh, he's fun, and I like the South Carolina kid a lot too. Right now,
but we're far from that.
We are.
Okay, the thing about I think the bigger issue right now is what you're dealing with is the running game. It's not so much about Biadasz. I think it's more about what's going on with the right guard and right tackle and how they're working out. And then I think you're in a little bit. I do think you miss. We said it earlier. I think you do miss Steele. I think that continuity that they had over there. Okay, here they're making the matchup. So they giving us any type of time yet?
No
time
times.
Okay.
They're just showing us who the matchups are.
So anyway, I just kind of feel like that, there's not some very good continuity going on over there right now. And I think you miss Steele because him and Martin, I just don't see the cutback lanes that they had earlier this year. I don't see him securing guys up front and then being able to cut the ball back like they have been in the past, earlier in the year. So I think you missed that a little bit.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, and still, And certainly the personnel's hurting, but there is predictability with Kellen Moore and these runs right now.
Maybe he didn't want to show you anything today.
Maybe. That's what we're hoping for, right? That's what we got to be hoping for.
Yep.
All right, let's go out to Michael, line 7. Michael in Denton. What's going on, Michael?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I got 3 points, but I'll make it quick. The first is I'm going to apologize to the fan base. I did not get my lucky Cowboys shirt on at the beginning of the game. By the time I got it on, it was too late. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Then my second point, your guys' point about the grass, I actually think it has more to do with cold weather. A lot of the games that we played on grass, it was cold. And for Dak's career, I don't think he plays well in cold. I think his touch is off. That's my theory anyways. And then the third point, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this. I'm wondering if we have a route combination issue in the designs where there's just not a lot of space. We don't really target mismatches. A lot of the elite offenses in the NFL are targeting backup players and linebackers, and we don't seem to do a whole lot of that. Or some weeks we do, where we get CeeDee Lamb in the slot and get a linebacker on him, and then other weeks we're not doing it. So I wonder what your thoughts are on that, and I'll hang up and listen.
I think you're on everything. I think you're right. I think the one thing that we appreciate about CeeDee Lamb is, I know when we evaluate him at Oklahoma, that ability, the loose play guy that, it's, you move him, you throw him the ball, and he's running and he's open, and, you get him that pass. And because to me, that's kind of where I feel like that he's at his absolute best. Dak can hit him on the move, and they move him around, and they can see, okay, it's man, it's zone. And then he kind of has an idea from there. So anything to continue to get him the football, I think you could present a lot of problems with him. We've seen that this year, that when they want to get him the football, they can find ways to do it. And I didn't think we saw it well. And to your point, Zach, when it was into the second quarter before they actually got him a target.
Yeah, which is maddening. It's absolutely maddening.
But we might be in a situation, too, where we're watching the Commanders tomorrow on the All-22, and they've got 3 guys playing.
That very well could be.
Because you can't tell that on the TV.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And, hey, if that's the case, then very good. Oh, my gosh. The trolling has begun here, fellas, with the beard stuff. This is just unbelievable. We've got people going back in the archives. They're finding old photos of me, beardless, and I am just beside myself right now. And by the way, Michael, wear the lucky shirt. Like, we got everyone out there, Cowboys Nation, lucky underwear, socks, okay, whatever it is, shirts, shoes, jeans. I don't care what it is. And if the Cowboy, I'm not a lot of stitches. I'm a little stitches. All right, do what it needs to be done against Tampa Bay. We cannot have these flubs. We need all good momentum. We need all good juju going into this game. No road wins since 1992 during that NFC Championship at Candlestick. All right, all hands together. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3 team. All right, we need this, boys. We need this.
Are you thinking about? I was sitting there.
The second I saw you in your LSU gear today, I knew we were taking the L.
No, I wear.
You
LSU.
bleeped us, Brian.
No, I wear LSU.
You usually
gear
wear Cowboy gear on Sundays.
I do. I wear.
So what, an LSU Tiger game day?
No, I was sitting.
The hell are you doing?
I was sitting there listening to you talking, and I was watching Lovie Smith and then win that game. The Texans. They give the Bears the first overall pick. They'll probably still get their quarterback.
Well, Lovie knows he's getting fired. He didn't care.
Lovie didn't care.
He's like, whatever, this new guy that gets the job, he can have the number 2 overall pick and take Bryce Young or whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, Chicago's not taking a quarterback, or are they?
No. But, you got to worry about, maybe if you wanted that quarterback, are you worried about somebody going up there and getting them? That's what I worry about. But anyway, to your point, though, I'm a superstitious guy, too, but not to the point that you just described.
It's bad.
Yeah, are you?
I'll do anything, whatever it takes, man. And I know it really doesn't have any bearing, but I don't know, man. Whatever we can do, I want to do it.
I just think, because we're just kind of sitting here, and they showed Tom Brady running out of the tunnel here in Atlanta.
Yeah, bleep that guy.
Do you think Tom Brady, like when he sitting there at home right now and he knows he's never lost the Cowboys, that he feels as good as he could feel about his situation next week? I mean, you know what I'm saying? That, like, man, we're playing the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I've never lost these guys.
He's probably feeling pretty good.
He's thinking about their defense is kind of a little bit of a train wreck right now.
He's probably looking at that left corner situation thinking, I'm going to have a fun time.
Yeah. I hope.
But he knows about Micah Parsons. He remembers week 1.
Oh, no.
He didn't have a great day.
No, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. That might be a Monday night game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're thinking.
Yeah,
now, we don't have official word, but that's what we're thinking.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give you the AFC side of things, and we'll take the rest of your calls. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Whether you're getting ready to purchase a home, setting up a college fund for your kids,
Dallas Cowboys app.
1st and 10 at the Washington 31. Howell's under. So that was a dirty play. It got busted up, and Digizua is going to get him for a sack back at the 21.
That is our player of the game. Osa Digizua got that sack. Had 7 total tackles. Not sackles, but tackles. It's been a long day. But Osa was great. He really, really was. And they're going to need him next week. You need a disruptive force in the middle. Get Jonathan Hankins back, hopefully. But you need another really good game from Osa Digizua, and maybe another good one from Chauncey Golston, who was also very active, led the Cowboys in tackles. But Osa Digizua, our player of the game today in this one. How about CeeDee Lamb, though, as he finished today with 5 catches, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Now, CeeDee Lamb finished the regular season, as the second player in Cowboys history with 100 receptions and 1,300 receiving yards. He joins Michael Irvin's 111-catch season with 1,603 yards. His 9 receiving touchdowns this year, second most by a Cowboy receiver since Dez Bryant's 16 TD grabs in 2014. And CeeDee has had at least 5 receptions in 15 of his 17 games this season. That's the most in the National Football League. And after today's game, CeeDee Lamb caught up with the media.
CeeDee, what do you make of a performance like this, and how does it linger for you guys going into the playoffs? Or does it?
Can't really let it linger, but I feel like we could have played a lot better. We ain't really moved the ball much on offense. Special team, we had a couple costly turnovers. Defense, they played lights out, honestly. There's only so much slack you can give an NFL offense, or like our defense, they did what they had to do. We got to play complementary football.
CeeDee, you guys obviously have a bad taste in your mouth after this, but how motivating is it for you guys just to know that there is no more margin for error when considering it's one and done starting next week?
I feel like guys, not guys, we all got to flip the switch, understanding that we can't really lose anymore. And then going in, into this game, I feel like we knew we were going to win. And obviously we didn't come out and then play to the the standard that we knew we set for ourselves. But going into next week, we know what we got to do. We know the season is pretty much at stake. Not really pretty much, it is. So we got to go out there and play better.
How important it is to flip the switch fairly quickly while still owning what happened out there today to prevent that from happening?
Let whatever happens today move on. We kind of treat it like a win. If we won, the same thing. You got to leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? So just move on next week. We got to be better. Truly and honestly, that's pretty much all that is to it.
Is there anything you can point to that has led to? You guys have had games where you've had minor struggles that seem to be more pronounced.
Not necessarily. We keep the ball on our end, not really giving it away. And I feel like any turnover in the NFL is costly. So carrying that over to the playoffs, we cannot turn the ball over as much as we do.
Have you ever experienced 10 3-and-outs in any level of football you've
Never
ever played? With how you guys have performed on third down since Dak's return, stunning, surprise. What word would you use to describe it?
Very surprised. It's not normal for us, and we're not really used to it. So, it was very surprising. But I feel like collectively as a unit, we understand that we didn't really get, any first downs on third down. But you got to capitalize.
Now you're locked in to playing Tampa first round of the playoffs. How much are you guys looking forward to the opportunity to get another crack at them after what happened in week 1?
Like I said, week 1 doesn't really matter or carry over to, the playoffs. But most definitely looking forward to playing them in Tampa. And, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
CeeDee, with Coach McCarthy, what's his mindset that allows you guys to believe that 17 weeks is what matters more than 1 week? It seemed to be his message that he was saying through us. I don't know if he was repeating that to you guys.
We got to the 17 weeks, it'll get us in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And then now is 1 week at a time. So we can't really look forward to any more futuristic type things because the future isn't promised.
CeeDee Lamb after this 26-6
question.
Final.
I love the mindset question.
Yeah, I know. You're a big mindset guy.
Big mindset.
And identity of the football team guy. I know that's your favorite.
Mindset. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I know you love. I'm not going to ask you what you think the identity is going into the postseason. That's going to bother you. But
I'm like, the thing is, like, if you had a guy like Tank there, somebody you knew, Tank, you guys played like a bag of ass today. Just to see what his response would have been. I just, I don't know. I mean, what do you say? I mean, if you, what was the mindset of the team? Mike's talking about the 17 games.
Well, I love you, Brian. This has been a blast. 26-6, Commanders knock off the Cowboys. We got playoff football next week. I'm sorry we couldn't get to all the calls. We love you. Thank you to Peyton. Thank you to Larry. Thank you to Joey, Rodrigo, Tim, Gavin. Cowboys, Bucks, wild card weekend next week. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
People will always come and go in our lives, but we all know those few who never left. The ones who make you stronger, build you up when you're broken down. The partners who've always had you covered. At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas, we know what it means to be there, guiding you toward a healthier state of mind. Because the more we know as individuals, the healthier we all feel as a community through it all.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
ProStar Energy Solutions wrote the playbook for innovative energy solutions with the opening of AT&T Stadium. This mindset is why we created a complete energy playbook, whether it's retrofitting LED.